Cyrus the Great was not the first Iranian king.
Cyrus the Great, the first king of the Achaemenid Empire, was the founder of the greatest Iranian empire. Before him, there were many Iranian kings recorded in history: the Medians, the Elamites, etc.
We could say that Cyrus the Great was the first Iranian king that united almost all of the ancient Iranic people.
But he was definitely not the first Iranian king recorded in history.
The Achaemenid Empire was not the first Iranian empire. Before the Achaemenid Empire, there was another Iranian empire known as the Median Empire, which Cyrus the Great was also related to it. His mother was a Median princess, Mandana. Besides, the history of Iran does not even start with the Medes. There were so many ancient civilizations which were older than the Median Empire. For example, the ancient Elam.
Cyrus the Great did not die fighting the Massagate. There are several accounts about how did Cyrus the Great die, written by various historians. But modern scholars suggest that Cyrus passed away in his bed, because there is a tomb of him located in the south of Iran in Pasargade.
If Cyrus was killed by the Massagate, how could the Persians take back his body?
There is also no historical sources suggesting that the Achaemenids tried to avenge the death of Cyrus the Great from the Massagate. In fact, the Massagate were always a part of the Achaemenid Empire.
There's an inscription in the Kermanshah province in Iran known as the Bistun inscription, which was built by the order of Darius the Great. This inscription explains how Darius the Great became king. He also explains that some of the regions of the Achaemenid Empire rebelled against his rule, which he successfully crushed the rebellions. One of the people that revolted against his rule were the Massagate. Now the thing is, Darius the Great did not mention anything about the Massagate killing Cyrus the Great or he avenging the death of Cyrus. In fact, he mentions in the Bistun inscription that the Massagate were already a part of the Achaemenid Empire before he became king.
Cambyses II was not insane. Most of what we know about Cambyses II are propaganda, made up by the Greek historians, as the famous one is portraying him as a mad, psychopathic, ruthless tyrant. But these things were wrong. Modern scholars couldn't find an actual reliable source proving that he was mad or ruthless. In fact, most of reliable sources suggest he was actually a responsible and respectful king. The Immortals did not call themselves Immortals. This name was actually given to these warriors by the Greeks, as Herodotus called them in his writings the Persian Immortals, which is false. In fact, we do not even know what was their actual Iranian name. Modern scholars suggest that Herodotus probably mistranslated their name to Immortals. Xerxes I did not fantasize himself as a god. This is probably the most popular misconception about the ancient Iran thanks to the pop culture. But the truth is, Xerxes I did not fantasize himself as a god. In fact, none of the Iranian kings did such thing. Xerxes I was actually a religious man. He was a Zoroastrian and believed in its only one god, Ahura Mazda. He was also respectful to the other religions and cultures of his subjects.
The Parthian Empire was not created by the Parthians. The Parthian Empire, also known as the Arsacid Empire, was not created by the Parthians. It was actually created by the Parni or the Parnians. The Parni were one of the groups of the Daheya. The Daheya was one of the tribes of an Iranic people known as the Scythians. The Parni, under the lead of Arsaces I, took down the ruler of Parthia, Andragoras. They adopted the Parthian language and culture, and they established their empire in 247 BC. And in the reign of Mithridates I, the Parthian Empire got expanded to the Iranian plateau. And under the reign of Mithridates II, the Parthian Empire was at its maximum extent. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.